tough 24 hours here for our group, our organization. Most especially crushed for Jimmy, who he's having a great year, and obviously that's over now. So we're disappointed as a team, as an organization. Most especially though individually for Jimmy, who's meant so much to this organization since he got here. It's hard to believe he hasn't even been here a year, but he's fit in so well, and we hate it for him, but the beat goes on. We got to keep going, and I think our team's playing really good. I think we're playing some good basketball, and so that's the bright spot here. I don't have a positive twist on the news. It's not good. ACL injuries are not things that you can be positive about, but this will all come out well in the end, and we'll move forward. And but I think our team's in a good spot, and obviously we've got some things to figure out over the next year in terms of roster, finances, and all that we'll sort through. But for now, we're just kind of getting through it here, last 24 hours, and we'll figure it out.
I know this is early in kind of the process, but how do you envision this news impacting your deadline strategy?
Yeah, tough to say. Our team's in a different spot today than it was this time yesterday, so it will in some way, but I think it just always comes down simply to making good decisions, and that'll be the same here. Maybe the parameters have changed, maybe the goalposts have moved a little bit, but we'll still we believe in making good, sound decisions, and we'll do that, whether it's something big, small, whatever. The main thing is we do the right thing.
Last year, different situation, but Melton tore his ACL. You ended up trading the contract. How do you envision Jimmy, his contract? He's under contract next year, his rehab, and the willingness or non-willingness to potentially move his contract?
I don't envision that, but now that you brought it up, I guess I'd say what I envision for him is kind of giving us a boost next year the same way he did last year when he arrived. And so, at some point during the season, him returning and being the player he's been. At his age, what he's doing this year to have the year he's had is impressive. I think he's got a style of game that can play for a long time with his skill, his physicality, his mind for the game. So I guess my vision for him is him, returning at some point between now and this time next year.
Steph talks a lot about the importance of playing meaningful basketball in the spring. Is that still the front office's objective, is to get this team to have the opportunity to play meaningful basketball?
Yeah.
And what's your belief level that this current group without Jimmy is capable of doing that?
Yeah, I don't think there's an argument to make that we're a better team without Jimmy Butler. So no doubt that's that's something we're going to have to figure out and find a way to win some games. But I think this group's capable. With Steph and Draymond, their championship pedigree. You add in Al, who's been there. Melt's having a great year, and then our young players, BP, Moses, QP. We've got a good, deep team. A lot of people are contributing, and there's no doubt in my mind we can continue to win games. We're just, let's call it what it is. We're not as good without Jimmy.
What are the next steps for Jimmy's injury, like surgery-wise and rehab?
Yeah, it's figuring out the surgery date, and then he'll get into some rehab from there, and it's a long road ahead, but it's a very recoverable injury, and we're optimistic about it, and hope to get him out here as soon as we can.
Mike, how do you feel personally about this type of injury? You've known Jimmy for a long time, just as a former teammate, and then was a big part in bringing him here. How do you feel personally about the situation, and also have you talked to Jimmy, and how is his spirits right now?
Yeah, Jimmy's in good spirits. I hate it for him on a personal level. Former teammate. I've been through some injuries and surgeries, but never an ACL or something this significant. So I know he's got a long road ahead, but he'll have the support of our group, our organization, our medical side, and I know he'll bounce back.
Haven't talked to, I don't think, since the report of Kaminga's trade demand. How did you take that, and does Jimmy's injury alter the way you're approaching what Kaminga what could happen to him, by the trade deadline?
Yeah, I think as far as the demand, I'm aware of that. I think when in terms of demands, when you make a demand, there needs to be demand on the market. So we'll see where that unfolds. But heard always with these guys. I tell them I'm willing to work with them, want to help people out, whether that's JK or any player on our roster. So we're good with, if that's his wishes, trying to figure that out, but we got to do what's best for our organization, and that's what we'll do. And as far as it goes with the deadline coming up, I think we'll take the next couple of weeks to assess this team a little bit more. I felt pretty good with where we're at heading into last night's game in terms of what we need to do. I thought our team was playing really well, heading in the right direction. Obviously, things have changed, so I want to take a couple of weeks here to watch these games and see our team and what we can do better.
Mike, to follow up. To follow up on Kaminga, have you talked to him much in the last few days?
Yeah.
Do you get the sense that if the opportunity presents himself that he will play still here?
I hope so. I mean, I think that's a question for him, but as far as the playing time stuff and all that goes, that's more so for Steve. But I hope he'd play and be bought in. I'd hope so.
And to kind of close that part out, as an organization, would you guys be comfortable if he played leading into the deadline still?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he's available every night. And I think there's a path and a way for him to help us win games. He knows what that is. And if he can do those things, there's no doubt I think he can help us.
Mike, as you explore all the options and possible trade options, how much value are you placing on your draft picks or future draft picks? And is it conceivable that could possibly be in play?
Yeah, I mean, I think our picks always will and have been in play. To give up our picks, it's got to be meaningful to get something back. And so for that reason, there's only so many players out there that probably warrant putting stuff like that on the table. But, we're looking at everything. Joe Lacob's our owner, so you're always exploring all possibilities, willing to do any type of deal. And, maybe stuff has changed a little bit with with Jimmy's injury, but I'm not sure how much that affects our aggressiveness. We're going to have to kind of see on that.
Just as far as whether Jonathan Kaminga rejoins the rotation, what do you think about that possibility after he hasn't played in a game? He hasn't played in 16 straight games. The unusualness and maybe the awkwardness, frankly, of the situation.
Yeah, I think, I'd hope he's ready. That's a job as a professional to stay ready, be ready. I think Steve's communicated that to him. So if his number's called, I would expect him to go out there and play well. It's a tough situation for him not having played. But there's guys. D'Anthony Melton, played 10 games in a year. So it's doable to kind of get your rhythm and get back in the flow. And like I said, if his number's called by Steve, we expect him to do that.
Mike, how do you feel, just adding on to Kaminga, how do you feel about how that situation has devolved?
I'm probably disappointed it hasn't worked out better, but, it is what it is. And without getting into it too much, I think I have a pretty good understanding of what's gone on. And but there's still time left here. He's on our roster. I know the trade has been requested, but nothing's imminent. And, things in this league can change in a heartbeat, as they did last night. So he's got to be ready, and, we'll be ready.
Piggybacking on Monty's question about the future assets that you guys have to trade, what level of player would really entice you to want to make a deal like that? Are we talking a starter, another all-star, given kind of where this team is and what the goal is to compete for what's left of Steph's prime? What really would get you to maybe shove some of those chips in?
I mean, I think if we're talking about trading draft picks that will be going out when Steph isn't here, it's going to have to be a player that we think will be getting back that is going to be here when those picks are going out. So, and that player is going to have to be pretty impactful. So it would take a good amount, positionally, play style, archetype, all that. I leave it pretty broad and open. But if there's a great player to be had, we've got everything in the war chest that we would be willing to use.
Obviously, several weeks to go before the deadline. Have you had general conversations? Have there been any discussions about frameworks of deals, or is that still to be determined?
No, I think there's a lot of dialogue going on around the league. we talked to all these teams. Everybody's talking to each other, feeling each other out. We really haven't seen any trades yet, which usually this 2 weeks away you'll see one or two. But, I think there's been some good discussions, and stuff will start to heat up here next couple of weeks, as we know. And so we'll see. But I think for us, for this injury, better now than 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. It gives us a little bit of opportunity to assess and see if there's something we can do to help us out. But, all in all, not great.
Not much money on the books committed beyond 2027. How much discussion has there been about that as a potential inflection point, and what would it require for you guys to take on salary beyond 2027 in a trade?
Yeah, I think that's something that's important to us for sure. The salary stuff nowadays is so big. These aprons are very challenging, so you have to be careful about the money you're taking on, both short-term, long-term, how much it is. I would say the same thing along the lines as the picks. We'll take on money beyond that, but it's got to be worthwhile.
Mike, you brought up when it comes to the trade demand, there needs to be a demand on the other side as well. What have you felt Jonathan's market has been, and is there any concern that these DMPs have hurt his value when it comes to the trade market?
No concern. Market, I'll keep to myself.